Good morning, everyone. We are the Group 3, and today we gathered all the heights of these students from STEM H11 Honesty and did a frequency table to measure the central tendency and the variability of our data. So firstly, here is our table of contents. First, we have the mean and the median, which is solved by Johari, Pitogo, Huang, and explained by Itumay and Humauas. And for the second one, we have the mode and the range, which is solved by Johari, Pitogo, and Huang, and explained by Remedio. And the third one, we have the variance and standard deviation, which is solved by the same people and explained by yours truly.
Hello, my name is Kayla Itumay and I'll be talking about mean and median. So firstly, mean is equal to the sum of the product of the frequency and the class mark divided by the total frequency, where f is frequency, x is our class, fx is product of the frequency and class mark, efx sum of the product of the frequency and class mark, ef total frequency, x with the bar on top is the sample mean. Number 1, so here we have the sum of all our product of the frequency and the class mark, which is sample mean equals the sum of frequency and class mark over the sum of frequency. Second, in result, we have a mean of 164.43023255 or 165. Median is equal to the lower boundary of the median class plus the quantity 1/2 of the total frequency minus the cumulative frequency of the lower class next to the median class divided by the frequency of the median class times class width. What is median class? This is the class with the smallest cumulative frequency greater than or equal to the total frequency over 2. So here we have 158.5 as our median class and add it to the product of our frequencies, 21.5 minus 12 by 8 and multiply it by 6. Add 158.5 and 1.1875 times 6, and there we have our median, which is 166. Thank you. In a frequency table, mode is the value with the highest frequency. To get this value, we can simply use this formula, but there are also other ways to get the mode. Mode equals lower limit mode plus delta 1 over delta plus delta 2. 164.5 plus, open parenthesis, 4 over 4 plus 6, close parenthesis 6. 4 over 10 where we added 4 plus 6. And then we will change 4 over 10 into a decimal form. And we will times this with 6. And we have 2.4. And we will add both of these values, which are 164.5 plus 2.4. And we will get 166.9, where we will round it off, which is now equals to 167, and that is our mode. The median is the middle value in an ordered set. To solve for the median, we use this formula. Median equals Lm plus n over 2 minus f over fm. And this is the process of how we solve for the median. 158.5 plus 43 over 2 minus 12 over 8 times 6. And then 21.5 minus 12 over 8 times 6, where we will minus 21.5 minus 12, where we have 9.5 over 8 times 6, and we will turn this into its decimal form, which is 1.1875, and then we will times this with 6, where we will get 7.125, and we add both of these and round it, and we will get 166, which is our median. Firstly, we have our class limits here, and we have our interval, which is 6. So what we're going to do first is we're going to find our range. So what is the range and how will we find this? The range is the difference between the upper boundary of the highest class and the lower boundary of the lowest class. So 188 minus 147, and that would equal to 41. And we're going to divide it our interval to 6. And we now have 147 to 152, 153 to 158, 159 to 164, 165 to 170, 171 to 176, 177 to 182. And for the next column, we have our frequencies here, which is 9, 3, 8, 12, 6, 2, 3, and the total frequency, which is 43. And for the next column, we have our class marks. So how do we find the class marks? We add our upper and lower boundary, 147 and 152, and divide it by 2. So we have 149.5. 153 plus 158 divided by 2, we have 155.5. 159 plus 164 and divided by 2, we have 161.5. 165 plus 170 and divided by 2, we have 167.5, and do it for the rest of the column. And for the next column, we have the product of our frequency and our class mark. So 9 times 149.5, we get 1,345.5. 3 times 155.5, we now have 466.5. 8 times 161.5, we now have 1,292. And 12 times 167.5, we now have 2,010, and we do it for the rest. And for the total of our product of the frequency and our class mark, we have 7,070.5. And we have our class boundaries here. And for the next one, we have the less than cumulative frequency. So how do we find this? First, we have our frequency of 9 and we add it to 3. So 9 plus 3, we now have 12. 12 plus 8, we now have 20. 20 plus 12, we have 32. 32 plus 6, we have 38. 38 plus 2, we have 40. 40 plus 3, we have 43. So here we have a new table. So this is quite similar to the table that we had before, but here we have our list of heights, our interval of 6, our frequency, which is 9, 3, 8, 12, 6, 2, and 3, and our total frequency, which is 43. And for the next column, we have our class marks, which is 149.5, 155.5, 161.5, 167.5, 173.5, and so on. And we have the product of our frequency and our class mark, which is 1,345.5, and so on. And in here, we have 3 new columns, and this is the deviation of the mean. So how do we find this? This is the difference between the class mark and our sample mean. So we have 14.93, 8.93, 2.93, negative 3.07, and so on. And for the next column, we have the squared deviation. We're going to square these. So 14.93 squared, that would be 222.9049. 8.93 squared is 79.7449. 2.93 squared is 8.5849. Negative 3.07 squared would be 9.4249, and so on. And for the next column, we have the product between the frequency and our square deviation. So, frequency times our square deviation, 9 times 222.9049, that would be 2006.1441. And 3 times 79.7449, that would result to 239.2347. And we're going to do the exact same thing sa ubos. See? And here, for the next one, we're going to sum it all up. So, in result, we have 4,706.7907. So now, we're going to find our variance. So what is our variance? Variance is equal to the sum of the product of the frequency and the square deviation over the total frequency minus 1. So, since we already have our mean here, we're going to rewrite our equation. So, we're going to substitute. 4,706.7907 is our frequency times the square deviation over 43 minus 1. So, we have it here. And if you calculate that, we will get the result of 112.066445238. And we're going to round it off to the nearest hundredths. So, we now have the answer of 112.07, which is our variance. So, here is our range. And in finding our standard deviation, we're going to find the square root of our variance. So, that would be 10.5863119168. And we're going to round it off to the nearest hundredths as well. So, this would be our standard deviation.